Level 1. The Script Kitty. You are 19 years old. You are sitting in a windowless room deep in the dark basement of a run-down apartment complex. The air is thick with the smell of black mold, mixed with the sour stench of a dozen cheap energy drink cans scattered across the floor. The room temperature is forced down to 60 degrees, drowned out only by the relentless piercing whine of server cooling fans. You don't hack for passion. Nobody starts here for passion. You are here because your father just collapsed under $20,000 mob debt, and an Eastern European cyber syndicate bought your life to clear the ledger. You are hunched over on a plastic chair with a broken backrest. It's been 16 hours. Your lower back throbs with a sharp, burning ache. Your fingers are numb, striking the grimy keyboard in a continuous, frantic rhythm. You are not a computer genius. In the eyes of the underworld, you are just a script kiddie, the absolute lowest tier garbage collector of the digital age. Your job isn't complicated. You stare at the screen, copying and pasting cheap, pre-written, malicious scripts, scattering tens of thousands of phishing links into anonymous email inboxes. You type. You chug your fifth Red Bull of the day. You piss straight into a plastic bottle hidden under the desk, so you don't lose 2 minutes walking to the bathroom. Your daily quota is $10,000 trapped clicks. If that progress bar doesn't hit 100% by 3:00 a.m., the enforcer standing outside the door will walk in and break your fingers one by one. Your stomach cramps from gnawing hunger, but you don't dare blink. Your eyes are glued to the monitor, bathed in a cold blue light. You watch the numbers jump, you crave power, you crave the day you step to the top of this ruthless food chain. Level 2. The Fisher. You are 21 years old. You have finally crawled out of that suffocating, mold-infested basement to buy your own version of freedom. You sit in a one-bedroom apartment with 3 curved monitors illuminating your pale face, running your own operations now. You are no longer pasting cheap scripts for mobsters. You are writing your own. You execute your first manual SQL injection against a regional medical provider's severely outdated database. You type strings of malicious queries that manipulate their login fields into vomiting their raw or unfiltered data directly onto your screen. You aren't hunting massive corporations yet because you know you don't have the skills to bypass their enterprise firewalls, so you hunt the weak. You target the elderly, the technologically illiterate, the trusting people who still use their pet's name or their birth year as a master password. Your eyes burn fiercely from staring at endless lines of terminal code for 20 hours straight. Your vision blurs and fractures at the edges, but your heart thuds violently against your ribs at an exhausting 120 beats per minute when the progress bar hits 100%. You have just successfully siphoned $15,000 from an anonymous widow's retirement account. That is more money than your father managed to save in a decade of breaking his back at the warehouse. The dopamine hits your brain like a chemical freight train. It is a sudden blinding rush of pure euphoria that leaves your hands trembling uncontrollably over the mechanical keyboard. You sit back and look at the $15,000 flowing seamlessly into a cold, untraceable cryptocurrency wallet. The sweat pooling on your upper lip tastes like salt and undeniable victory. You feel absolutely no guilt. On the internet, guilt is a physical impossibility. You do not see a weeping grandmother holding an empty bank statement. You only see a successful string of executed logic and the vulnerabilities of a system that deserve to be exploited. You only see power. Level 3, the affiliate. You are 23 years old. This ruthless, cold-blooded efficiency gets you noticed by the predators swimming in the deeper waters. The dark web is a brutal meritocracy built entirely on malice, and a prominent ransomware syndicate operating out of a heavily encrypted Jabber channel sees your flawless data extraction. They reach out to you in the middle of the night. You don't ask who they are, you don't ask where they live, and they don't ask your real name. You are immediately elevated from a petty thief to an affiliate. You are no longer stealing digital pennies. You are dropping sophisticated Cobalt Strike payloads onto the internal corporate servers of a metropolitan hospital. You learn to navigate their network silently. You move laterally through their Active Directory escalating your administrative privileges, and methodically locating their offsite backups until you hold the digital keys to their entire kingdom. You take a deep breath and press enter. Instantly, thousands of sensitive medical records, vital surgical schedules, and life support operational protocols are locked behind impenetrable military-grade AES 256 encryption. You send an automated text file demanding 3 Bitcoin, roughly $150, 000 for the decryption key. You do not care how many critically ill patients on ventilators have their emergency surgeries delayed or cancelled. You do not care about the sheer panic erupting in the emergency room as doctors realize they cannot access patient drug allergies. You only care about the blood-red file encrypted splash screen glowing on their monitors and the eventual digital chime of your crypto wallet confirming the massive deposit. You have willingly traded your basic human empathy for a permanent seat at the table. You are a ghost in the machine. You are an invisible, untouchable god, dictating terms of survival to men in expensive suits who suddenly realize their multi-million-dollar firewalls are made of paper. Level 4, the exploit developer. You are 26 years old. You now live in a luxury penthouse that costs $5, 000 a month in the heart of the city, but you never actually see the skyline. The heavy blackout curtains are drawn tight across the floor-to-ceiling windows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do not write cheap phishing emails or deploy standard ransomware anymore. You hunt exclusively for 0 days. These are the mythical unpatched software vulnerabilities in enterprise-level systems that the vendors don't even know exist yet. You silently package the keys to Fortune 500 companies and sell them to the highest bidder on exclusive Russian-speaking underground forums like exploit.in or xs.is. You have a dozen desperate script kiddies working under you now. They are kids just like you used to be, sweating in damp basements, running your automated vulnerability scanners. They are completely disposable and entirely unaware of who they actually work for. You are building an army of digital mercenaries, but you never speak to them with your real voice. Everything is text, everything is encrypted, everything is routed through 7 different proxy servers across 4 different continents. You are moving from a skilled technician to a manager of digital warfare. You dictate the targets, you set the prices, and you take a massive percentage of the cut, while absorbing none of the direct operational risk. Level 5. The initial access broker. You are 29 years old. You are an initial access broker, the sophisticated, highly paid vanguard of global cybercrime. You have $4 million sitting securely in decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges, but your daily reality is a terrifying, claustrophobic nightmare. Extreme paranoia has become your baseline psychological operating system. You eat dry ramen noodles directly from the styrofoam cup because ordering hot food means giving an address to a delivery driver, and a delivery driver is a potential physical vector for law enforcement or rival gangs to track you down. Every single camera in your apartment, from the webcam on your laptop to the sensor on your smart TV, is covered with thick layers of black electrical tape. You cut ties with your family completely to protect them and to protect yourself. Your mother calls you in tears one evening to tell you your father has been rushed to the hospital with a failing heart. You respond with a dead, emotionless grunt. Your bloodshot eyes remain glued to the terminal screen that is currently dumping 2 million stolen credit card numbers from a retail giant's compromised payment server. In your eyes, human beings are no longer people. They are just walking, talking source code riddled with emotional vulnerabilities, and you simply do not have the time or the inclination to patch them. You lose the fundamental ability to hold a normal conversation with another human being. When you walk down the street, on the extremely rare occasions you must leave the apartment for supplies, you physically flinch at the sound of a police siren 3 blocks away. Your pulse spikes to dangerous levels if a black SUV idles for more than 10 seconds near your building's lobby. You are rich enough to buy almost anything in the world except a single night of uninterrupted sleep. You wake up gasping in cold sweats, imagining the FBI raid, visualizing the tactical team blowing your reinforced door off its hinges. The money is no longer a tool for freedom. It is just a digital high score, a meaningless number that goes up on a screen but buys you absolutely nothing but deeper, darker isolation. You trust no one you love, no one, and you live entirely inside your own head, surrounded by an invisible fortress of code that is slowly suffocating you to death. Level 6. The Cartel Administrator. You are 32 years old. You have fled your home country entirely, relocating in the dead of night to an Eastern European nation that does not have an extradition treaty with the United States. You have built a digital empire that rivals physical nations in its revenue. You are the undisputed architect of a ransomware as a service cartel functioning exactly like a multinational corporation. You no longer touch a keyboard to hack anyone yourself. You are the CEO of a shadow mafia. You sit in a perfectly silent, windowless room cooled to a precise 65 degrees by a massive liquid nitrogen server cooling system that hums endlessly in the background. You don't look at lines of exploit code anymore. You look at complex Excel spreadsheets, HR evaluations for your developers, and quarterly profit reports. Your syndicate pulled in $45 million last quarter, alone a number so large it has lost all tangible meaning. You manage a sprawling network of malware developers, professional negotiation teams who speak flawless English, and dedicated launderers. You wash the blood money through a dizzying labyrinth of decentralized finance protocols, offshore shell companies, Monero tumblers, crypto casinos, and physical real estate investments in Dubai. A single silent nod from you on the heavily encrypted Tox messaging app can authorize a devastating digital strike that takes down the entire power grid of a developing nation, crippling their infrastructure and plunging millions into darkness until their government agrees to pay the extortion fee. You are a literal deity in the criminal underworld. Level 7, The Godfather. You are 35 years old. The international authorities know your aliases. They have placed multi-million-dollar bounties on your head, but they cannot legally touch you. You have corrupted the local officials. You paid the right exorbitant taxes to the right local oligarchs, and you are protected by impenetrable layers of geopolitical red tape. Yet, at the absolute pinnacle of this dark power, you are drowning in an ocean of profound, crushing loneliness that threatens to snap your sanity in half. You cannot trust your closest lieutenants. You know with absolute certainty that every single person in your organization would eagerly sell you to Interpol for a reduced prison sentence or a fraction of your master wallet's seed phrase. You have armed bodyguards standing outside your door, but you lie awake at night wondering if they are the ones who will eventually put a suppressed bullet in the back of your head when a rival cartel offers them enough cash. Enough. You don't drink alcohol anymore because intoxication means a fatal lapse in judgment, and a single operational security mistake means a lifetime rotting in a maximum security federal supermax prison. You realize with a cold, hollow certainty settling in your gut that the summit of absolute power is just total deafening silence. No one knows your real name. No one knows the sound of your real laugh. If you were to drop dead of a massive heart attack right now in this $5,000 ergonomic leather chair, the underworld would not mourn you. They would simply step over your rotting corpse to physically extract the encrypted hard drives from your desk. You have successfully and completely erased your own humanity to become a perfect, untouchable system, and now you're trapped inside it. Level 8, The Ghost and the Fall. You are 38 years old. It is 3:00 a.m., and your fortified, climate-controlled room smells faintly of stale espresso and raw metallic terror. The fatal vulnerability wasn't in the code. The vulnerability is never in the code. It is always in the unpredictable, fragile human element. Your most trusted affiliate, the man who helped you build the automated payload delivery system from the ground up, was quietly picked up by the FBI at an international airport in Frankfurt 3 days ago. Faced with the terrifying prospect of 60 years in a concrete federal prison, he made the only logical, self-preserving calculation a hacker ever makes. He traded your exact IP address and physical GPS coordinates for a full immunity deal. The red proximity alarms on your primary monitor suddenly begin flashing violently, casting a bloody hue across the silent room. The reinforced oak door of your compound shudders violently under the massive kinetic impact of a tactical battering ram. You have exactly 15 seconds before heavily armed, highly trained tactical units breach the perimeter and flood the room. You do not panic. You have rehearsed this exact nightmare in your mind 1,000 times over the last 2 decades. You slam your trembling hand onto the customized mechanical enter key on your desk, triggering the ultimate kill switch protocol. A massive electromagnetic pulse surges through your server racks, instantly wiping every solid-state drive, magnetically melting the internal platters, and incinerating 19 years of your brilliant, twisted, digital legacy into untraceable electronic ash. The heavy steel door finally gives way with a deafening, splintering crash, and the room fills with blinding tactical flashlights and screaming voices commanding you to get on the ground. The cold, heavy steel of the handcuffs bites viciously into your wrists, tearing the skin as they yank your arms painfully behind your back. They drag you aggressively out to the waiting armored transport vehicle, the flashing red and blue police lights blinding your sensitive eyes after years of living exclusively in the artificial glow of computer monitors. As they shove your head down into the cramped back of the cruiser, you catch a fleeting glimpse of the crowd that has gathered behind the yellow police tape in the freezing rain. Standing right at the front of the line is a 19-year-old kid, wearing a cheap, oversized hoodie, staring at you with wide, utterly obsessed eyes. He just read the breaking news alert on his phone that a criminal mastermind with $50 million in stolen cryptocurrency was just arrested in this neighborhood. His eyes are gleaming with absolute unadulterated hunger. He is dreaming of the power you wielded, the millions you stole, the untouchable godlike status you held in the digital ether. He looks at your bleeding wrists in the handcuffs and genuinely thinks he can do it better. He thinks he won't make the same mistakes, that he is somehow smarter than you were. He has absolutely no idea that this cold iron cage is not the exception to the rule, but the absolute inevitable destination of the path he is about to walk. A legendary name has just been permanently erased from the dark web. A massive, lucrative power vacuum has just opened up in the underworld. The cycle resets, the trap is baited with the illusion of godhood, and the loop begins again.